Mm, Me, I'm Peace. It is 13:40, Saturday, August 22nd, 2026. And we need to discuss Chester the Molester. Everybody is not your favorite uncle. But in my case, he worked at a candy company. When he got to his house, he had Pop Rocks in the living room. All your favorites. He was my uncle. He wasn't a stranger, which is why we no longer say stranger danger. Which is why we no longer say things like tested and molested. Which is why we've begun to put adult terms to things and encourage adults to say those words to children rather than cutesy things to make people feel comfortable with predators in the building. This is not a normative of society to prey upon children or women. It is a byproduct of no longer being a functional society and behaving exceptionally dysfunctional. When we get to the point where we have people in office who are known to have hung around with people who prey on women and children for money, we have to have the discussion regardless of how uncomfortable it makes somebody. Perhaps we should start with spanking their tails and teaching them how to sit down and shut up because they are not little adults. They are children. They do not have any understanding of the world in which they are living except for that which you expose them to, which is why some of them think that they are adults in children's bodies and behave as such. And when I reach out and touch them in the spirit, they holler in the flesh. See, what we call a hit dog hollering. Now holler on, demon. I don't give two shits. Little devils ain't never made it to heaven. No sense in lying about it. Isn't it interesting how the room is changing as we speak? Plausible deniability meets the man on the street reality. Some things are easily recognized and understood. You don't really need an attorney or a judge or someone telling you what you see with your own two eyes out this piece. You recognize gang stalking, you recognize bullying, you recognize harassment, you recognize that for whatever reason, when my beautiful black behind turns this camera on, there's always some wildebeest white person all up in my business or space. Making noise, running their mouth, going off. Why is it? Could it be because as a black woman, I make up the only 3 to 6% of the black population in this city, while making a part of the 13% of homelessness in this city that their mayor refuses to address, and these punk ass motherfuckers work for. And these pussies all think that I'm not gonna say anything because I'm what? Afraid of what? Bitch, I'm an American citizen. I paid my taxes, I served my country, I volunteered. I've done shit you bitches they never did. You're afraid of going to prison for your drug addiction, for your being fat and overweight and on somebody else's goddamn dime. Yeah. That disability check you've been getting is gone as of this moment. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You can gang stalk somebody, you can take your ass to work. Period. You can sell your food stamps, you can find another way to eat. So now there goes your whole way of living, wildebeest. What's next? You gonna whine about the system not being there for you? When were you there for the system or anybody else inside of it? You begging ass motherfucker. See, I could hit you with a bam and a sprinkle like Emerald and the rest of them. I'm an industry leader. when it comes to culinary competitions, baby. I simply choose to refuse to cast my pearl for swine at any fucking time in my life. Hmm. You aren't even as useful as muscadine wine, as far as I'm concerned. So your outcomes are of little concern to me. I suggest you lay off the methamphetamine because, well, it's been stepped on a time or two. They're looking to get rid of you. Loose ends again. Hit dogs hollering. Don't call Saul. Mr. White, there you go. Better let him know. The jig is up, O'Shea. You may be in an African country, but in order for, aren't you in Ghana, by the way? They're trying to get reparations for black people. I'm at the head of that movement. I want you removed from their country and turned over to American authorities so that you can be held accountable for your crimes along with your partners in the Negro Manosphere. That's what it is to have all the cards. I got every ace, every face card. I even got the two jokers and the wild card. So it's in your best interest. If you already made it back to this country, just turn yourself into the authorities. You're a terrorist, foreign and domestic, depending on where you're at the time. Or you're a terrorist. Oh, the video that Darrell Long made of you trafficking that young African woman. I mean, phenomenal work. Phenomenal work. Because it was a meme to you, and yet it exists as evidence to the United States government and the foreign officials. Who were you modeling her for? Because in Ken Ghana, isn't that your other website? You be passport broing it, right? You're trying to get them back over here, or y'all over there. Well, what was the plan exactly with Austin Holloman? You thought we forgot about him? We ain't forget nothing. Hmm? You put Kendra G up as like the shining example of what a single woman was supposed to be if she was gonna get a man and that she can't keep a damn thing. I only connect keep a man. I can't get rid of this motherfucker. What you talking about? I got me being arrogant, me being honest. I'm a real girl, Damon. You can see it. Without her veneers and that wig and them eyelashes and them testicles, where would Kendra G be? A radio hostess with less than the mostest. How moist might them cake be if y'all weren't spending money on spa treatments? I'm mind my business. I'm mind my business. Mm-mm. You can't pay me to be your arm candy or your eye candy. You can pay me to be me and spend time with me, enjoy my company. And why are you paying for that? Because I'm taking time away from what I would otherwise be doing to spend time with you. And I'm an entrepreneur. Time is money. See? Mm, if I wanted all that bullshit, I could pay for it. What I can't pay for is vibrant conversation with somebody that I might decide I want to sleep with. That's it. I mean, outside of that, the way y'all treat the world today, I could pay pretty much anything else. I've already climbed a mountain. Hmm. I've never gone scuba diving, but I don't know that I want to. Like, I'm an adventurous black woman who's also very ambitious. So the idea of you like pinning me down for more than a night or two in a bedroom, boy, you're going to have to be. More importantly, it shouldn't be your goal nor mine. What are we going to do with the rest of our lives? That was always the question for me before I would relate with anybody. What are where are we going to go in this life, right? So after the test of the molester era comes the AIDS epidemic, and that's again because we hid so much information. We have pockets of what they call down low men in places like Atlanta, Georgia, and we know this. But because it's a mostly a haven for black gays, we don't say nothing when the white gays go visiting, go back to Californians, and then start depositing things in other people's boxes. So I remain celibate today. Because at 13, I studied HIV and or AIDS. It's the reason that I also am not allowed to donate blood to anybody. Because, one, I came up at the time when Ryan White was infected by a dirty transfusion. And two, I was in Germany around the then African refugee population going to school and or in the same community. And so there was like, no. Then we had a couple of government or military employees who came up with HIV and or AIDS. And so to avoid all chances, even though I am HIV and or AIDS free, along with other STDs, in order to not carry on a potential risk, right? A good example otherwise would be the trait for sickle cell. Okay. We have weeded out things like polio, cleft palate. We're on our way to getting rid of sickle cell. As long as two people who have the sickle cell trait do not mate, we are able to weed out sickle cell in the black community, making the black community healthier. If I mate with someone, I'm sickle cell free, but the other person isn't, and they have carried the trait, but I have very small red blood cells, there is a chance for us to kick that thing off again, right? So anyone who has a sickle cell trait is also not a good candidate for me to be in a relationship with. This is not about supremacy in the form of eugenics, but in the form of culling out the things that have been killing us for centuries, making us unable to be the apex predators we appear to be. We have basically hunted and gathered our way to this moment in history, although we forget it because we have all these wonderful things around us. But there is somebody out there hunting and gathering our food, our okay. Don't be a butthole today. Yes, we have corporations and other things. And that's why I say there are people out there hunting and gathering other things. Because I get the United States military and they out there hunting and gathering bodies. Why? You like to eat, don't you? Someone has to defend the lines for your food supplies. They defending your food before they can get their own food. Dumbass. Why do you think they had to turn around the USS Abraham Lincoln? Them idiots didn't make sure there was enough food out there or a boat close enough by to be able to supply them. So they had to go on a longer mission. What's that called? Logistics. You know who's good at logistics? A chef. You know why? We have to feed you all day, every day, twice on Sunday. We cannot be out of. I, the restaurant industry, period. I went to a Crystals once in where all places, Georgia. Went to the drive-thru. Got there. I said, I would like a sack full of crystals with cheese, please. She said, we ain't got no crystals. I said, we got little chicks. You want something? No, I want beef. I asked for crystals. The name on the building says crystals. As a culinarian, as a chef, we had fried chicken Wednesday. I told my staff members, don't ever around and find out on Fried Chicken Wednesday because by Friday you will not have a job. I'm not playing with you. When I came in, they were always late getting the children the chicken. And then we had a school that was attached to our company, thereby attached to us. It was called Johnson C. Smith in North Carolina. And they served the babies raw chicken, bloody chicken, and the babies put it on the internet and the company sent it out and I posted it on the wall. I wish you motherfucking would. It will be your last day working for me. We got that thing down to a rhythm. From 10:30 to 1:30, someone was frying chicken. I don't give a good gosh damn if there's a slowdown or not. You will continuously drop chicken until I tell you to stop, and nobody else. Ran that bad boy like clockwork. So good that we were able to take the extra money and turn over the grill area into a teriyaki station. I mean, hibachi station. So 2 days a week, the students were able to come and get whatever was left over from the kitchen. We would break it down into smaller pieces, and we'd make rice and pasta. And we take all of the other veggies and we put them on station over in the grill area that otherwise sold burgers and fries. Offered burgers and fries. All their food was free. They were a captive audience of 680 boarded students, the brightest in the country, at least in North Carolina, right? So I would give them on Fridays they got fried macaroni and cheese and hot wings. Because on Wednesday they got fried chicken. They also got fried fish on Friday because we tried to make sure that we incorporated as much of others' dietary needs as possible rather than restrictions. Restrictions are very hard to do when you've got 680 captive. You can compartmentalize the ones who need certain things and work with them independently along with their parents to make sure that they get fed, even if it means adjusting the budget a bit. Because at one point we did bring in like tempeh and all the others, the vegetarian things. But what I found consistently is that the children, the young adults, like things that same as me, meat flavored vegetables, um, or the little things that we consider munchies today. That's their snack. Okay. That's the caloric intake, but it's also the caloric need. So we need to start tripping about some of these things and adjust accordingly. So if they have a caloric need that includes 3 strips of protein and some type of carbohydrate, we can give that to them in air fried form instead of in sandwich form. It's the same damn thing. We have to understand these things. And that's why you need culinarians in positions of authority around food and logistics in this country. You can't just presume that food is going to do what it's going to do. We don't have a food core in this country. The food core is embedded in the military. Otherwise, you've got Jose Andres out here doing his thing, which is great. It's just in that case, y- you have no control over logistical things when you have a need. And right now, America is in need. I don't want to hear the bullshit. Donald Trump is doing the right thing by way of draining the swamp so you can see the need glaringly. Because when other people were saying to you, look, stupid, here's a damn problem. You didn't want to listen. You wanted to blame the homeless community. You wanted the black women, white women, black men, this and that, everything. But the system was not built for Americans to achieve a victory. Jeez, you know why? We're owned by Europeans. We're still owned by the colonies. I mean the colonizers. The colonies are all that they actually own, though. The rest of this was treaties and other ish. It goes back to the indigenous. And since the indigenous sold out to the Americans, only those of us who are indigenous, American, others get to be like, give me my ass in the form of reparations. Understand? There's not as large of a population or group of people as you think it is. And even if you included all the other folks, when you invest in the fact that they are clueless about financial literacy, you can count that money as coming back to you and then just go right back to focusing on the few of us who fully effing get it and have been standing on business, minding the business that pays us, which is not now with anybody else and trying to fix homelessness, poverty, sex trafficking, human trafficking, all the rest of it. You motherfuckers was resting on your laurels because you thought you had Donald Trump and Epstein and them by they short and curlies. You ain't did or gotten shit for it. Have you? I don't give a damn what it is that you have been running your mouth about. Have you seen the victory? ICE, Donald Trump, Epstein, any of it, except the behaviors of the administration. Are you feeling better that you sitting down enjoying your air conditioning? Oh, you ain't out there protesting right now, is you? It's 190 degrees, according to you, because you can't. You was outside during the wintertime, but what you had then? Oh, you had hand warmers, you had hats, you had gloves, you had the heat of your emotion. Not the heat of your emotions will get your ass killed. You somewhere sitting inside watching the news. Talking about, well, who we gonna vote for? This is the storm that will be weathered, ladies and gentlemen. America has officially elected a felon as president. So I wish you motherfucking would you tell me I can't be the president of this country. I have a clean background check. Ain't never seen a prison nor a jail cell, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, jump to it. Jump, jump, jump to it. So you can arrest me, you can not arrest me. But when it comes to who's going to be president of this country, it's already me. Who gonna stop me? Who can catch me? Who can keep up with me? Who can debate me? Down lemon. I'm still waiting for your answer to the question. Which is more painful on the mind of the woman at the time? Having another human being ripped from her uterus, or having the support of those around her while she goes through the birthing experience of giving birth to a child of someone who otherwise raped and or molested her. Both have lifelong consequences, which does more damage to the body, mind, spirit, all of it. I dare you to say it's giving birth. I have 3 children. I'm here today. I'm happy. I'm healthy. And I can look my abuser in the face and accuse him without jumping to the immediate need to violence. You see, so they may have written the diary of a mad black woman thinking they understood me. This is my testimony, honey. I'm not guilty of the sins of those men and women. My first abuser was a teenage girl. If they knew she had a chemical imbalance, why did they leave me alone with her? If I can speak to my truth, I could empower myself. I can tell others how to do so. Also, that's what the president and Pete Hegseth and well, his wife are finding out at this time. You see, they want to have this little military spouse powwow, pay you for your inconveniences. How you plan to pay me for this, Pete? You and Molly, because that's what I like to call her. I don't know her name. I don't give a shit. I don't care about your name. You just happen to be in the fucking office and you're doing a bad job of it. I think you're Harvey Dent. Okay, you're Harvey Dent to his Batman, president. Y'all making all kinds of weird shit. It's not on his dime, but under his authority, right? He's the president. He is America's Bruce Wayne, turned president. Because y'all took him out of New York and put him in D.C. Send him back to New York. He got things to do dealing with the UN. Y'all act like the UN is over there somewhere. Y'all really do. You act like people don't know that they're in New York. Well, maybe they don't. The average American citizen is then sitting at the library for any reason, except for the free air conditioning. Okay. Hmm. You all said every year you watch Santa Claus coming out of NORAD. Where's NORAD? How secure can it be if they give tours of the facility? That's how long they've been lying to you, stupid. NORAD stopped being the home of X, Y, and Z. Then that's what they started doing the Santa Claus is just keeping track of other things. Such is life. So let's just say, for instance, there's not a Santa Claus, but there is something that can be tracked every year at that time, or at least there was. Not anymore. The spirit's been set free. The spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Halloween, the spirit of happiness, the spirit of they are speaking or seeking the spirit of the planet. That's where it resides in me. No other human being. Me. You all have remnants, bits, essence, particles, mm, some portion of me in you by way of the spirit of the planet running through you because you consume what the earth offers you. Yet you are not of my bloodline. You are not of this land. You are not even of this planet. And I do hope you understand. Mm, I told you, you will sink here. Are you ready now? As sentient beings in the ethers. You made an agreement to come to this planet and serve out your sentence as a human being. Purgatory is what they like to call it, right? But you chose a set of parents to come on down here through and do your time. And the time that you were meant to do has an actual limit, and then humanity created time, and you forgot about the time you had because that is not limitless. It is, however, timeless in comparison to humanity, which is why you can have a billion-year contract and aliens, demons, angels, and whatever else it is walking this planet, and you not recognize it. Which is also how you get individuals who were convicted of crimes that they did not otherwise do in the vein that we are speaking of today, um, coming back in other ways, saying, hey, yo, listen, let me pick that over there. And you see cold cases being reopened and relitigated, and then the ones who actually did it getting hit with the charges. And you're like, boy, wait a minute. The DNA was degraded, or this, that, or the third, but other evidence has come to light, or the victims, like me, continue to live. It's been well documented my medical experiences inside of the United States military, what my parents and or someone else allowed to happen to me on their watch. In comparison, my children's medical records are like a third of the size and pretty much include what you would expect them to. Actually, less because there were no real broken bones for me to have three sons, which is why they thought that I coddled them. I didn't. I just raised them in a bumpered environment. Kind of like when you go bowling and you put the little bumpers up for kids. They had that. They had padded walls that they were able to run to at a young age. There was always someone there to cushion the blow. They were going to land. They just landed softly. Okay. That was the difference. I was allowed to take every hit. Plus, I don't blame the government. I don't blame my parents. I don't blame anybody. We are human beings. We are fleshly. We are messy. We are all of the fun things in human growth and development and child psychology. I see the inner child in every human being, even beneath the possessions. See, possessions are trappings. When they say the trappings of society, they mean possessions, what you own. However, what you own is a spell by comparison of, hold on, you speak and spell, or you speak a spell, a thing into existence. Lord, let me get this car. You don't say, Lord, let me get this car debt free. You understand? You speakest things into existence. If you spend the majority of your time on negative speech, you receive negative things. They may look like assets, until you check in and invest in it. You got a 29% interest rate on the $1,000 credit card, and you spending that $1,000 in the second 2 weeks of the month because the first 2 weeks all you had was a check for that. And so you're trying to bribe Peter to pay Paul. Wasn't Paul originally Saul, and Saul was the murderer? On today we have the Wiz and we have the Wizard of Oz. If you were to watch them, I've never seen the Wizard of Oz. What I can tell you about the Wiz though is Miss Numbers is a racketeer. That's her job. In um, cultures back in the day when we had so-called gangs, the mafia and whatnot, black people ran numbers for the mob. Remember how I said that the the civil rights movement was originally a Tennessee labor movement? Remember? Black people were beginning to get independent money, uh and the predominantly white appearing people, otherwise known then as Irish, Italian, um, Russian, Jew, uh, Spaniards were called something else and were left out too. See, know your history. Even the Portuguese. Have a seat. So when they realized that they was about to lose all this money, because you can't do what you did when it came to alcohol and prohibition. That was a little bit different. We're talking about the money that people are making and how they want to spend it. You can get them caught up in it, but because if they're not drinking, and a lot of blacks then were really into whatever it is, they had to find some other way to get in. So they used people like Bumpy Johnson, uh, Frank was his name that they wrote American Gangster after, so on and so forth, right? That's the history of numbers running. Everyone had something. So go watch Harlem Nights, because somebody ran the girl. Vera ran the girl. Eddie Murphy's character shot off her pinky toe because the money was short. The money was short, and it had to go to somebody. Who was the money going to? The police. They just got in bed with other police and got rid of the gritty police and the greedy Italian man in the movie who Eddie Murphy's girlfriend ended up kind of dying over. But it was some weird because they were sending her in to kill him. She was in his bed. They both had guns in the bed. You should watch the movie. It's really interesting. And then go look at Coming to America, and you'll see where me, my daddy, and my mama and them come in. Yeah, my daddy's an African from over there. Came over here with money, met my light skinned mama, and was like, ooh, that's gonna be my birthday present to me. And I was a surprise. Absolutely. That is the story according to my biological father, honey. You can't get no more horse's mouth than that, now can you? He turned out to be a Scientologist, though. So he put down roots here in Memphis, Tennessee. He married a woman named Almela. She was from the continent. And then when his money got funny, he accused her of not filing taxes, but he was a Scientologist, and most of it he was just giving away to them. There's a photo floating around here of him and Isaac Hayes. So, was involved in it. And again, Isaac Hayes, Eddie Murphy, my daddy, Isaac Hayes, Chocolate Salty Balls, South Park, Psychic Gifts and or Abilities, me, Scientology, my daddy. See? Overlapping theories that you can now put together as full on understandable constructs that were once conspiracy. See how I did that? In 40 minutes, you understand what it would be and why they would sacrifice it, hoping to achieve a victory for this president because he wants to make money. Polymarket, Kalshi, these are all new ways of investing. He has old money. He wants to invest in new ways so he can keep his money running, honey. But don't get me wrong. I understand money, which is why I understand the mentality. That doesn't mean that I think that everything that the man does is right or wrong. I see it all in the same vein. All of us are trying to maintain someone else's ish. We are Americans. This is our history. The British don't like that we had these things. Because did I mention the British anywhere in there? Hmm? I didn't, did I? What? I said Italians. I said French. I'm sorry, stop that. Damn, Francophile. I said Italians. I said the Jewish community, the Russians. We're talking about people who built communities inside of this country and protected them from the inside out. That is what whites call a gang today. Who started that in the first place? European whites, otherwise known as British colonizers, who was always in alignment with them, the Chinese, because they were also imperialist. See, they ain't never infiltrated Chinese, Great Wall of China. Why China got its own base race. China by comparison is behind us, right? Which is what China's pissed off about. China's like, wait a minute now. Uh, we about the oldest ones out here, uh, ancestors. What the hell? But the Chinese were the enemy to the original peoples who were the Mongols. So that would be why. Anybody who's wondering, you don't know, and Mulan was not the good guy. Can I ask you a question? Why do you think that Ariel was the good guy in Little Mermaid? She wanted to leave her merman life behind and go be with some dude she met on land. She signed over everything. And her daddy had to sign over everything to get her back and save her. As you romanticize everything. Which is why I became a Muslim mystic or a Sufist, really. Just because I understand that man romanticizes everything. I can't take the romance out of you. What I can do is help you to see when romance is blinding you to reality. Romance is a beautiful gesture of love. It should be intimate and between you and those whom you want to invite into your intimacy, not by way of laying with them, but I love you enough to provide for you these things. How many people do you love enough to make sure that they have been fed, to make sure that they have been clothed, to make sure that they are well rested? I didn't ask you to care. I said love them enough. Can you do that platonically, or does it come with something? Because if you can't do it platonically, then you don't know unconditional love. Thereby, you are not Christian, as you're not able to provide agape love to anybody. Your love comes with a minimum requirement rather than a zero barrier to entry. I ain't gotta like you to love you. I can love you from a distance. And forsaking all others, include your mother. As a mother, I know how to love others from a very neutral, platonic space. I have to watch my children love others whom I would not have chosen for them because I know that those others don't love my children the way that my children love others. And that hurts. They don't deserve that. They deserve to be loved for whom they are as human beings and what they offer to the person in that time in their life, not what they offer as a black man in society. That's disappointing to me. There's no character in that. That's just counting numbers. Mm. I find ice keeps me hydrated better than water. It goes down slower, easier. It doesn't wash all the nutrients away. And the crunch is satisfying to the ear, which stimulates me because my mind hears it as a new neutral variant. It's not a stimulant. It's just a normal byproduct of my function, and it helps me set executive function. Why is all of this relevant? Because I have been diagnosed as an autistic person, and I can testify under oath to how these same abuses played a role in my autism spectrum disorder as someone who's qualified by way of degrees, not just lived experience, and not just testifying under oath in my own case against those who otherwise tortured me, which is why I am bringing the United States government as a body, the state of Arizona, the city of Tucson, and my family under judgment for holding me hostage in this country. It isn't so much that I want to leave, it's that they have blacklisted me and won't allow me to leave. They have interrupted my business, they have interrupted my personal life, they have interrupted my ability to heal from the abuses that put me on the spectrum in the first place. So I had to go to Amnesty International, which while technically I do need an international attorney, I also understand the law as it is afforded to me. And I'm an American citizen seeking amnesty in my own country. There is no consulate in America that I can go to. I have to go to an outside authority, although the UN, NATO, I can go to them, but going to them would mean I would have to physically be able to go to them. So all I had left as an option to me was social media. This is where plausible deniability becomes the president's thing in his last opportunity. Because up until this moment, why would he know anything about me saying these things on social media or begging to get up out of this city when all of them have been able to lie to him? He could say that and you could believe that possibly as the man on the street. Now, as the man on the street hearing me say all of these things to you and telling you that I have been tagging the Donald Trump social media account along with the FBI, the city of Tucson, Arizona, plausibility goes out the window as of this moment. One can no longer deny They're understanding that this is happening. So one is now required, especially the president, by way of his immunity deal, to come up off of it. What do you know in reference to Miss Hill and her human rights being violated in this country by way of the manosphere, the Negro manosphere? Anton Daniels, Kevin Samuels, and all of the rest of it, ladies and gentlemen. It opens the door to new questions in the Epstein cases, the Diddy cases, and many others, you see, which is why it would have been covered up from both sides of the country, both parties, including the United States government as an institution and governing body, rather than just as one president specific, which makes him the perfect president to tell the truth, because he already has an immunity deal, and it is in the people's best interest for him to spill it. So does he work for the people, or is he covering up for the British? Because people have been wondering whether or not Andrew and Charles and all of them were involved in Epstein's sex trafficking. Because as I understand it, the Queen once met with Epstein before her passing, and we all want to know how Diana died. See how many cases can be reopened at this time. Sure, I'm willing to come inside. Y'all already know the conditions. Just know I ain't surrendering. This ain't no negotiation. I am an American citizen, and you will be protecting me from our enemies, foreign and domestic. See, that's the right afforded to me. Being a citizen, having served this country, never left it, being held hostage by a bunch of motherfuckers who think that this is Mexico or the Alamo. I don't know. That's not up to me. They wanted to bring down this country. That is what I do know. And so Donald Trump can decide whether he's an American president or he's a bird that's sitting in my seat. Peace.